Hi everyone, my name is Suzanne Wagner and I'm a professional psychic, astrologer, numerologist, palmist, and tarot reader. I have been doing this my whole life. So I started out when I was a child being able to see the dead and seeing dead things. And it progressed that I actually was seeing, understanding cards when I was about 6 years old. And I was reading palms when I was about 4.5 years old. When the astrologers looked at my chart, they said, she's been a Piscean psychic in so many lifetimes that she just kind of walked in knowing palmistry and tarot, which is really the case. Nobody really taught me. I actually ended up creating a book called Integral Tarot that you can find on Amazon and on Kindle. And I have this beautiful system related to tarot that is really different and really unique in how I read the cards and how I read numbers and especially how I read palms. So in a reading with me, what you can expect with me is that I tend to do all of the above. I tend to start with the astrology and I give you a broad overview about your astrological sign and what planets are hitting as we progress forward and what has been maybe happening a little bit behind, so that I always like to say, I like to show that there's method to universal madness in the astrology, because the astrology is really good with timing and giving you a heads up of when you're going to get hit, how you're going to get hit, and what your choices are in those moments, as well as when love is supposed to come in, the opportunities that are related to work and money and business, and how things are going to progress as you move forward. From there, I tend to go to the numerology. The numerology tells me what you have done in many past lives and what you're really good at, what you did in your last lifetime, what you came in to learn in this lifetime, what your path is supposed to be, which is oftentimes how you step on your path kind of shows you how the karma in your life is going to show up. And then ultimately what your destiny is in this lifetime. Like, where are you really trying to head? Like, what's your ultimate goal before you die in this lifetime? I will also talk about your year number that you're in, which starts from your birthday this year, goes until your birthday next year. And so what are the patterns or energies that you might encounter and how to deal with them as those come up? Now, if you happen to be in my office, I work in Northern California, 3 hours north of San Francisco, and I also work in Salt Lake City, Utah. I come to Salt Lake City, Utah about once a month, so I'm usually a month in Salt Lake, a month in California, and I go back and forth. So you will need to look at my online scheduler, and at the 8 a.m. position, you will see that it says Suzanne is in Utah, schedule on Mountain Time, or Suzanne is in California, schedule is on Pacific Time. You will also see the time zone I'm in at the 7 p.m. mark also. Know that with my online scheduler, if you are past the 8 a.m. time, for some reason the system just grays it out, so you won't be able to see where I'm at, so you will have to look at that 7 p.m. time. And with my online scheduler, it's very simple. You go in, you make a username and a password, and you can see everything that's happening in the schedule and make your own appointment and sign up for things and look at your schedule and get back to it if you want to. So if I happen to be in your city, and I will do palmistry if that is something that you're interested in. And palmistry takes anywhere from 30 minutes. So I do a reading for an hour, and there is a new client discount that is $120 rather than the normal hour, which is $150. So it's your incentive to kind of give me a shot and give me a chance. So in that hour, I'm going to try and do that astrological overview, the numerology. I will sometimes, most often, skip the palmistry unless it's really a burning issue for you. But then I will do the cards, the tarot, and let you ask any questions you want at the end. So one of the challenges that I have is sometimes people have so much going on astrologically and numerologically that we barely get to the cards. And so there is an hour-and-a-half session that is also a discount. So instead of it being $150 plus $75, it's actually $200 for the hour and a half. And in that case, we can usually get everything in, the astrology, the tarot, the numerology, and the palmistry. But every once in a while, I get somebody whose hand has a lot going on, and this happened just the other day. So, sometimes I look at somebody's hand and it's like I think I can do it in a half an hour, and all of a sudden I look at it and it's like, oh my God. So I spend like 55 minutes doing that. So kind of know, I try to follow the flow, and I don't like to kind of stop halfway through a palm or stop halfway through a numerology spread or stop halfway through the astrology. So I'm kind of a little overly thorough. And people say that about me. They're like, my gosh, you have so much information that you give in one session, and you can record it. I'm more than happy for you to record it. People have their smartphones these days that have a voice recorder, or sometimes they bring in a digital recorder, and then the iPhones have a voice memo. All of those things work because, as you can tell, I talk really quickly, and usually there's so much information coming at you that people go, oh, I'm so glad I had that recorded so that I can go back and listen to it again. In a session, if you want me to do a whole bunch of people's numerology, you want to tell me that at the very beginning, because each person's numbers takes a lot of time, and sometimes that's really fascinating to do, especially if there's conflicts, say with your parents or your children, that you can actually kind of start to sort through and break apart where the issues are in the conflict so that you can understand them better, understand what your gift is to them, and maybe what their gift is to you. So, in a reading, I prefer to do astrology, numerology, tarot, and let you ask any questions that you want. In that numerology, I would love to do your mate in that numerology, but if we start suddenly having 4 to 6 kids, we probably need to do a whole other reading and another hour to be able to do all of that together, because otherwise it just it's just rushed. So now, I also do channeling. I tend to channel your guides or your angels and what they're trying to tell you and what they see as most important for you. Occasionally, I do mediumship. I say right off the bat that this is not my specialty. I am not John Edwards. I am not the Long Island medium. When I get it, I get it. If I don't get it, I don't get it. I don't have control over that. So, if somebody's standing behind you, I will absolutely let you know. If you have a very specific energy that you're wanting to connect with that's on the other side, I would prefer for you to call me in advance for me to see if I can energetically connect with you really well, because it's the connection with you that gives me access to the connection with other people. So I'm kind of energetically moving through you to get to them. So then again with the tarot tends to answer what the question is. Like, this is the question that you have at the moment, and it tells you what has happened in past lives that maybe is repeating. It also tells me how you're handling it in your emotional state, and it will also tell me the outcome that you have, and sometimes it gives me 2 outcomes, sometimes it gives me a unified outcome based on the tarot. Again, I have a tarot book called Integral Tarot, Decoding the Essence. I have my tarot class and I have my numerology class online for free. You're more than welcome to go on Amazon, pick up my book, go through the class online. I have people that end up coming to my physical classes and they say, oh, I've done your tarot class online like 10 times. And that's great, because then they're very well informed about the images of the cards and how that whole thing works. I also do daily astrology and numerology that you will find on my blogs that show up every day. I do a monthly intuitive patterns for the month that are based on 6 different decks of cards, and so it's a card spread reading that is on the month, and that is also on my website under intuitive patterns for the month. You can click on that. I have a YouTube site that is full of all of these videos, so I put these things up on video so that you can also look at them on video if you're just not interested in reading things as much, but you like to see the video. I try to put those up also. So, needless to say, there's a lot of things that you can discover in my webpage. Please dive in. My YouTube channel, please dive in. I also put up just random videos and sometimes my poetry. And sometimes if I find something's really important, I will continue to put up some additional astrology even after I put up something for the month. I also do predictions for 2019, and that is also up on YouTube and it's on my website. Thank you so much for listening. I hope to meet you, and I look forward to having an opportunity to do a reading for you. Enjoy!